So today we're going to discuss like how to utilize portable self-storage containers. I mean, everyone got a parking space, um, in probably or somewhere some space in their self-storage facility or outside their self-storage facilities. So we're here to see how portable self-storage could work in Asia, or where you are. So before we before we introduce our speaker today, we are going to, well, we have to thank our ILS sponsor of the association every time we start a webinar. Let's go. So we have thank you our ILS sponsor, including FCX. They are a partition supplier that have factory in China, and Extra Space Self Storage, Lock and Store and the Storehouse, PTI Security Systems, Curious, the biggest one in Japan, Redbox Storage in Hong Kong, Store Friendly, StoreHub, and StoreHub. So we also thank our partner in Japan, our RSA partner. They just did the NU Forum in Tokyo. So a couple of reminders on the upcoming events. So our survey is going to release on the 3rd of December. It will be a hybrid event in Singapore or Bangkok. We're still discussing with JLL to see which place is where. So they're going to present there, and then also an online version for whom can't go to Bangkok or Singapore at that time. Another event that is coming up, which is on the 11th of December. This is an event from a consultant in Germany. So he is in the business for over 10 years. He's going to give a complete guide on how to pick your software for self-storage. So he's not working for any of the software companies. He's basically going to share his experience with you guys on what should be considered while you are picking your software solutions. All right. All the promotions are done. Now we go to today's topic. So portable self-storage containers. So today we have Lisa with us today. Let me put her on spotlight for everyone. So Lisa worked for Boxwell. So she's one of the founding member of the company. That she's in the business for over 7 years, I believe so.
Yes, almost 8 years, correct.
Almost 8 years, yes. So she's well experienced in putting portable storage containers in everywhere around the world. Because I know you guys deliver your stuff to anywhere, right?
Yes, correct. We deliver all over the world.
Yes. So, all right, I'll without further ado, I'll pass the stage to her. And thank you, Lisa, for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate you inviting me to this and would love to chat about portable self-storage containers. Now, most people, when they think of portable self-storage units, they're thinking of portable companies like a Pods or a Cubit, one of these larger companies where you take portable units and deliver them to and from customer locations. Now, another great application that's really taken off in the United States, Canada, Mexico, and then now also Europe is utilizing portable self-storage containers for the self-storage industry. So what is a portable self-storage container? Now, these are not Connex ocean containers. These are portable containers that typically come in kits where everything that is needed for the container comes in a specific kit where it's got floors, it has walls, roof, and then also either swing doors or roll-up doors. Many of these kits, some come broken down into several pieces, but many of these kits, like ours, can build up on hinges. So the walls and ends of the units are hinged, and it makes it very easy to build up. Now, some of the good reasons to choose portable units for self-storage industry is they're fully customizable. So if you have a current self-storage site that's specific color schemes, They can be manufactured to closely match your site. And they're also shipped flat packed. So they're not shipped already built up. They're all flat packed, which makes that, means that you can ship a bunch of them inside of a 40 or 45-foot OSHA container, which makes them very easy to ship in bulk. They also, because they're portable units, they don't need to be affixed to the ground. They can, so foundation is not a big concern, or doesn't necessarily need to be a big expense for your site. You can put them on concrete or asphalt, but you don't need to. In fact, most customers out there are putting them on a crushed gravel base. They can also be put on dirt and grass, but I recommend at least a good gravel base on there. Another benefit of them is that they're fully movable. So let's say you put some on your site and you're lining these up as drive-up storage units, and then you decide that on a particular part of the site, you maybe want to build a climate control building, or you need to even move a couple of the units to another location on the site. They all have forklift pockets, and they can be easily moved, and easily moved even when they're loaded, so they don't need to be empty. Typically, these units are made of steel, which is highly durable, has a long longevity of 20 to 30 years, similar to a steel building. So they're very good structure. And then many units, including ours, are stackable up to 3 high if you choose to use them that way. So what are some of the applications that these are being used for? Most of the customers that are using the portable or self-storage units may already have a self-storage site, and they have extra space at that site, whether it's some easements or some fence lines, maybe a parking lot that's underutilized, and areas under power lines, places where they can't build a building and they want to just add these units to fill in those empty spaces. So that's one of the applications. Then there's others that they might have, like a garage. In the center picture here, you can see a interior garage or warehouse space where they wanted to put in storage units quite quickly. And so they utilize the portable storage units. Another benefit of that is that at any point, if they wanted to move those out, let's say they had one of these parking garages and placed the units in there, and then at a later date decided that they wanted to move those units to another self-storage site and utilize this garage for something else, they could go ahead and do that with them being movable. And then over here on the left, showing some applications with swing doors. You can use the swing doors or the roll-up doors, where they're starting to put together sites that are completely portable storage sites and make an entire drive-up sites. So they're not just adding these to existing sites, but creating entire self-storage sites out of these. And I'll show you really good video showing this. This video I'll show you will really give you some good visuals as to a site, one of the many sites that are popping up that are all portable storage units. None of them are permanent structures on the site. You'll get also some really good visuals in here as to how the units are delivered, coming out of a 40-foot high cube or 45-foot high cubes, and then also how they're built up on hinges. So I'm just going to play this video really quick for you. Okay, so let's break that down a little bit. That's a really fun video and has a lot of really good shots in it of how they built up this site. This is a kind of a view of that particular site. So at this location, in case you're curious, you're kind of looking around at like, well, okay, how did they build this up? What was the ground like? You saw at the start that it was dirt. The whole site was just dirt. This is a very unique shape, and that's what another positive thing about using the portable relocatable storage units is that because they're each individual tiny buildings, you can work around these unique shapes and create the kind of drive aisles you want. You're not limited to just a specific shape building like this one that has kind of an L shape and then the ones along the edges. At this site, what they did for a base is they put down crushed gravel onto the dirt. They leveled it out. They packed down some crushed gravel, and that's actually what they put the portable units on, is the crushed gravel. And then after they had put in all the drainage on the site that they needed, they chose to pour asphalt through all the drive aisles. So the units are actually sitting on crushed gravel. At this particular site, they're also anchored to the ground. And that's a possibility. Most sites, they don't have to be anchored, but if that's something in your particular area, you need it for to improve wind load, or maybe the city requires anchoring, that is a possibility. So at this particular site, they are anchored to the ground, but you can see the individual buildings. So here at the front, there's units that have single doors on there. So they're the large rental units. And then towards the back, you can see how they can be configured into 2-door units, 4-door units with partitions to create more rentals. So in this particular site, there's 308 individual 8-foot by 20-foot units. But because of the division, they were able to create, with the 2-door units and the 4-door units, there's 542 total rentals at this site. This is a really, really great representation of what's kind of popping up out there in the United States, Canada, Mexico, even have some projects going up in Europe that are like this as well. So like I mentioned, these are fully customizable, so you can pick different colors. These show just white, but there's different wall colors that you can choose, different trim colors, and then of course different roll-up door and swing door colors. In the interior of the units that we manufacture, the interior also has a anti-condensation coating on the interior roof. Not all companies utilize that, but we felt it was important to help combat any kind of condensation risk. And then typical wind load ratings are around 120 mile per hour. But like I said, you can increase those ratings if need be by anchoring to them to the ground. So you saw in the video how they're built up on the hinges. They build very quickly. So by the time they get on site, the unit lead time is around 12 to 14 weeks, probably faster in the Asian market because most of that timeline is shipping. So to the Asian countries and areas, it would be a shorter time frame because the shipping is close and we manufacture in China. So the manufacturing time is right around between 4 and 6 weeks. And then the rest of the time is the transit to your location. The build time on each of these is about 20 to 30 minutes. The swing door units, the doors are actually on the units when they unfold them. The doors would be on there. For the roll-up door units, the roll-up doors are shipped on a different skid. They're shipped in the same ocean container, but you put the roll-up doors on afterwards, which you saw some of that in that video. This also gives you a good idea how you can see the crushed gravel there that they place these on. And the telehandler over there to the right that's holding a unit, that is what a kit would look like, minus the door, because these have roll-up doors. So that's a full kit with the base, walls, roof, the roof's on top, would pull the roof off and then lift the 4 walls up, bolt the corner guards on, and put the roof on. So like I said, very, very quick build. In fact, that site that you saw the video of, I believe took between 4 and 6 weeks before it was completely built, those 500 units. or 300 and something, 500 storage units. This shows a good image of how they come out of the 40-foot high cube. So you've got the 45-foot high cube back there. A truck is needed to chain onto the skid. This shows one skid of 6 units. And then back further in the truck, there's another skid of 6 units. So they come 12 flat packed inside each 45-foot high cube. I say 45 and 40 because it depends on if you get roll-up doors as to which, or swing doors as to which size high cube that they come in. But this gives you a good idea of how they're unloaded and then placed on your site to then be separated from the skid and then built up. So there's great cost advantages to using portables. One of the main cost advantages is that because it's not a permanent structure, there's not a lot of, like not having to pour a foundation, not a lot of those costs involved, no electrical wiring involved. You could certainly attach lighting to them if you wanted to, but it's not required. There's extensive warranties on the units and they last very well over time. As far as city approvals, it varies all over. Some cities and areas are very welcoming, don't have a problem with putting portable relocatable units there. Others have more restrictions. So a lot of time educating the cities, some cities may not even understand the concept because it's kind of a new one, especially with doing full sites out of the units, like the video that I showed you. As far as adding on to current sites, I think that's more common and is more familiar with the cities. But building an entire storage site out of the portable units is a little bit unique. So sometimes it requires educating them by providing them with, cut sheets, the specs, photos of the unit so that they understand what it is that you're putting on the site. A lot of times when you say that you're putting portable self-storage containers on site, they may assume that you're putting Connex ocean containers on the site, which don't really have the same street appeal, don't look as nice as putting these units. So sometimes offering them pictures and letting them know how nice it's going to look when it's done, that it will basically look like a storage building. And then ordering the units, it's nice to have your funding approved, your funding available, and of course it being approved by the cities. And then it's just as simple as working with your vendor to make sure that they have the right colors, the right door configuration, the right unit counts. Some, including us, will go with different lengths of containers. If you need one that's, shorter, and maybe you have an area that's only 15 feet deep, so you don't want to do a full 20 foot. There's ways to customize those as well, because every order is basically built customized to fit the needs of each client. Our goal is to really make sure that you can utilize as much land as possible, that you're taking advantage of all the dirt you own and being able to get rental revenue on that. Here's some ideas. I don't know if you can see the whole screen, but the ideas of areas where you can put the units, like I mentioned, under power lines, along fence lines, setbacks, easements, and with each being a small individual unit. If you have just a little building end cap, maybe you have just 40 feet along there and you want to put 2 units there and then 3 units in another part of the site and 5 units in another part of the site. It's very easy to just kind of, Lego these in there like they're a bunch of little Legos and put them into all those little small areas and maximize your storage space. That's also one of the benefits, just having the low minimum order quantities. So you don't have to commit to a really large project. You can actually scalably grow a site. Even with that larger site that I showed you, they did that all at once. You don't have to do that. Maybe you have a piece of land and you say, okay, I just want to start out small. You can start out as little as 2,000 square feet, or you can start a little bit bigger than that. Maybe get a mix of different sizes and configuration. And then as they rent up, you can start to go ahead and add on more of these units as needed and kind of configure them differently. Maybe you find that you need more smaller rentals, so you can go heavier on those for the next order, or maybe even larger units. So like I mentioned, fast, easy installation and the cost effectiveness of the units. Those are all benefits to using these. Here's a good picture that shows color matching. So over on the right, you've got an existing self-storage building, and this shows some good examples using the swing doors, but you can also do it with the roll-up doors, with having units that has a very similar wall color, maybe pop some color there on the roof or the trim, and then also the doors to match the facility. This makes it ends up looking like a full building and like it was there all along. And instead of looking like something very different than what you already have, it can look quite similar and match your facility very well. So some of the uses for portable units, like I mentioned, in commercial is with self-storage sites. That's primarily what we're kind of focusing on today. Creating the self-storage sites there. These are also used in many areas for multifamily storage units. So there are some apartment buildings that are starting to crop up that want to offer on-site storage for their residents, because they don't want to send them somewhere else. They actually want to rent them out and get extra revenue by having on-site storage. So they're utilizing parking spaces or fence lines along in these apartment complexes or multifamily locations to add the units to. And then, of course, the example on the right is kind of showing portable storage. Like I mentioned, the pods kind of process where you may want to be able to utilize these to pick up and drop off at different locations, at residence locations. Maybe they need on-site storage for a short period of time or for a longer period of time. And in that case, then not only do they have the forklift pockets, but they can have D-rings and receiver tubes for wheels so that you can easily, deliver them on a truck to and from customer locations. So there's lots of surge and, of course, Asian self-storage markets with growing populations and urbanization. And then, of course, the commercial and residential space constraints, like I said, with people not, just like it is all over the world, where people may want more space for their storage. So the storage industry is growing all over. We're seeing it. The United States seems to store the most stuff, but Canada's coming in at a close second. And some of the other countries are beginning to store more belongings and want that extra space. And so the portable storage, like I said, one of the benefits just being able to start small. You can have a very small piece of land or a very small area at your site and start to add these self-storage units to provide rentals for your local customers and then also rental revenue for yourself. So once again, my name is Lisa and I'm with Boxwell, and we do manufacture these portable storage units. We manufacture them in 8-foot by 20-foot length and also smaller lengths if you need custom sizes that are shorter than that. And then we also offer 10 by 20s too. So if you need the larger sizes that's more of a traditional size in the US is those big 10 by 20s. We offer both options for you. I'm happy to answer any questions any of you may have. Sometimes it's easier to just kind of find out what you're curious about and what kind of questions you have about this. So can we do that, Haley, and ask?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Like we already have two questions coming in.
Yes. Okay, perfect.
First question is from Edison. He based in Philippines. So his question is, because in Metro Manila is very dense, like very high population. It's very difficult to find affordable land for self-storage. And for portable self-storage, do you do 2 levels? Can we stack these up?
Yeah, so these can be stacked up to 3 high, fully loaded. Most people will only do 2 levels. You do have to get creative about how you want your customers to access that second level. We do have a customer, like for example, in Mexico, who they have the same situation in Mexico City where they're stacking them too high so they can get more storage in a smaller area. And what they're utilizing is a kind of a rolling staircase for the customers to access the higher ones. So I believe they have either a concrete or an asphalt fault base where they can roll that staircase from unit to unit so that customers can access that. Some have also working on building a mezzanine or like a staircase and then a mezzanine that they can walk on around to get to the units on the top. I haven't seen any applications where they've done them three high and had customers access the third level, but it would be possible. You can locate, you can stack them up to three high. Most of the construction or ideas that I've seen so far have only gone two high. But in most of the people that are stacking them three high are doing it inside a warehouse. So that would be interesting to see if someone wants to go three high on that. It is perfectly possible. It's just the question of how will your customers access the units up on the top levels?
So maximum will be three levels.
Yes, three levels.
Okay. Is there any like size constraint on if we build it up that high? Like, should I make it smaller or bigger? Like, any
Uh,
concerns?
No, there's no concerns there. They're all structured to fit. So they have rubber feet on them and the structure of the walls are strong enough to where everything hits all the weight is on the wall structure and the base structure. So you don't need to make the ones on the top level do not need to be lighter. They don't need to be smaller. They can be loaded just as heavy as those on the bottom. So there's no problem. All the weight is distributed evenly around the entire unit.
Do you need to like, I don't know, connect each of them? Like, I don't know. I just thinking
Yeah,
out from
you
a
could.
IKEA building blocks
Yeah, yeah,
kind of
right.
point of view.
You certainly could. In fact, our customer in Mexico, I think we're supplying some brackets to them where they can actually connect the top level to the bottom level. There are bolt holes already on. There's like two on each side and two on each end that you could utilize the existing bolt holes. That would probably be the easiest to just put some kind of bracketing system on there. We're really excited about this one in Mexico that's doing the two levels because our team is going to be there and hopefully get some really good pictures of this because we've got this same question. Now, in the United States, it's a little bit more difficult to do the two levels because there's a lot of regulations on, how it has to be built to access the upper level. But in other countries like Canada, Mexico, they have a lot easier time with it. They're more loose with regulations and, they can get very creative, like I said, with the rolling staircases or building a mezzanine to access those top levels.
So Edison also said he has seen a warehouse that use a warehouse racking system to build walkways and stairs between pallets.
Oh, that
Does
would
that
that
work?
would definitely work inside a warehouse. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm assuming if you can build the walkways and like I said, there's customers that are talking about and trying to figure out ways. It seems to be more on people's minds is how can we build up, especially in the highly populated cities. You don't have the big sprawling landscape like other countries may have where you can build low and out. They're building up. So I think we're going to get some more creative pictures and some good ideas from people that are starting to think about, building them up into the second and three levels.
Hmm. I can't like Edison. I kind of want to feed in one thing that we actually went to see the Beijing self-storage 2 weeks earlier, and then because they built in underground levels, and then it's usually it used to use as a safety bunker, like and so that's why it got like really high ceiling height in
Oh, okay.
underground. So it's an indoor self-storage, so they build the self-storage units, but they normally have two floors, or even there's no floors, they just build it up. So I
Yeah.
asked them how can they sell those like upper units, because like I personally, if I got many stuff, I probably won't want to walk up the stairs, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so the answer is, so they they charge cheaper for the upper levels.
Yeah.
And so to attract people to use those. And to be honest, once they sign the contract, they don't really want to come back down, like because as everyone runs self-storage knows, a lot of people don't really access to their stuff once they
Yes. Yeah.
store there.
Yeah.
So it actually got sold out as well.
Yeah, you're
So
going to get, I think on those upper levels, you're right. You're going to get more customers that want long-term storage. Like they know, like, I don't have to come here and access it that often, so it's fine that it's up there. I may be being, I'm going overseas for a year, or I don't need this to see this stuff very often. So they'll rent out those upper levels. I think that's a good idea to have a lower cost for the upper levels because of the, just the inconvenience factor of having to go up the stairs and put your things in there as opposed to the ground level.
yeah. Well, also have another question. So
Okay.
I know you have one or two customers in Asia already, if I'm not wrong. Like, do you have more at the moment? Like, can you share some case study that you're doing it in Asia?
Yeah, I would have to look and see who we have in Asia right now and where they're located. I'm not sure exactly where the sites are located, to be honest with you. Um, but we have, I'm more familiar with the Mexico, Canada, and Europe
Hmm.
markets where we're there. Um, so yeah, if I could try to find that out and get it over to you, Haley, to see, if there's any sites or any of our units that you could see over there.
Yeah, that would be
Maybe
great.
somebody listening will put one together and then we can send everyone there.
All right. And do we have any more questions from the group? Ah, so if someone wants to order, will we ship out from the US or from China? You have a factory in China, right?
Yes, yes. We manufacture in China, and it would ship directly from China. So your shipping in the Asia market would be so low. It would make all the United States customers very jealous, your prices. So that's a big chunk of the cost of the units is the actual freight, but going to the Asian markets, it's going to be very inexpensive. So they would ship directly from China, the port of Qingdao, to whatever is the closest port to you. Of course, if you're in China, they would probably rail to your location, and then truck to your location from there. So they're pulled off a rail car and then delivered by truck. And then the other markets, they would just come out of the port of Qingdao and then go to the closest port and be transported to your location from there.
Um,
They do not go to the United States and then over. They come straight from China.
and I believe if it's coming straight from China, the what's it called? Is it called the levy or the tax country to country will be
Oh,
lower as well, if especially if they have the if it's in like the country to country have the agreement in between. So the
yeah,
taxation
yeah.
will be lower as well, I believe
Oh,
so.
yeah, that would be great because every country's different,
Mm.
right? Depending on what and those change obviously too with different leaderships as to what additional costs there are to transport, like whether it's duty charges coming into Canada versus the United States, and it's all coming directly from China. So that's what they're considering is they're coming from China. Nothing is coming from the United States. So that would benefit you if there is, good trade agreements between the countries, and then there would be the lower cost for you.
Yeah. All right. Well, Kevin wants to know about the pricing.
Oh, Kevin, give me a call, send me an email. Um, it's hard because it's always in US dollars, right? So I don't know what the
Just
conversion
tell us
rate.
the US dollars if you're comfortable.
Yeah, yeah. It ranges depending on how many doors you're getting and what style of doors you're getting. So are you getting swing doors? Are you getting roll-up doors? Do you have one door, two door, four doors on there? I would say just a good roundabout figure is going to be anywhere between 2,500 to 4,000 US. That's not including freight. I know that's a wide range, but are we looking at single swing door? Are we looking at swing door units? Or are we looking at with only one set of doors? Or are we looking at roll-up doors with 4 doors on there. You know, the more doors you put on the unit, the more doors and partitions are going to increase the price. So, you know, if you want just a good average price, just, you know, plan on 3,000, 3,500, somewhere right in there.
Swing door is normally cheaper than roller doors, right?
Yeah, yeah, it is a little bit cheaper than the roll-up doors, but we are manufacturing our own roll-up doors, which is kind of close the difference between the two. We were purchasing from another manufacturer, and then that made the difference between the swing doors and roll-up doors bigger. But now that we're manufacturing our own roll-up doors, we've been able to get the cost down, and so now they're a little bit closer. But yeah, the roll-up doors are more. And then also because of the way they ship in a 45-foot high cube, so it does change the price on freight. The swing doors can fit in a 40-foot high cube. But like I said, that probably won't make too much difference for you all there because, you know, the freight is going to be so low compared to other countries.
I see. Um, One more question is like like because when I go to visit like other facilities, that all the operators telling me roll-up doors are normally um easier to get broken because like if someone there's a bump in there, it couldn't get rolled up already.
Yeah. So there's benefits. The benefits, they're very different, and it's all personal preference as far as swing doors or roll-up doors. So the roll-up, if you were doing portable storage where you're moving the units around, that's when I would just strictly say just do swing doors, not roll-up doors. That's because if you're moving a unit when it's full and it's the belongings in there can shift. If they hit the roll-up door, they can they sometimes jam the door and then make it so that you can't open the door. But as far as if they're just sitting on your self-storage site as drive-up rentals or as walk-up rentals, you can really choose either style. Um, some people, the roll-up doors are kind of like the popular look for self-storage. So when people drive by or they see a site with roll-up doors, they're always going to know self-storage, self-storage. They look more like a building when they're all lined up. Um, if you want doors that maybe have a tighter seal, so maybe you're in an area, um, I tend to think that the areas that have drier climates, so let's say you have a dry climate, you're worried more about dust entering, maybe you have lots of sandstorms, windy days, you don't want dust any risk of dust getting in there, then the swing doors would be better. They provide a super tight seal all the way around. Like there's no openings in there. The roll-up door has a slight opening above the drum. And so I think the roll-up doors work really well in humid environments because you want the self-storage site to the unit to breathe, right? So you want more airflow in there. And although we have the vents on the sides that help with that, the roll-up door also helps with that because it kind of acts as one big vent to kind of keep the temperature regulated in there and
Mm.
keep it from not having such a tight seal. So in some areas, I think customers don't want such a tight seal. Other areas, they do want a tight seal. So they're both just very different, and a lot of it also has to deal with, what look do you like? Do you like the swing door look better? Do you like the roll-up door look better? The swing
Uh,
doors are extremely solid. You're right, Haley, in that
mm,
they're very thick. You can't dent those doors.
I see. How about electricity? Oh, thank you, Edison, for your comment as well. Rob door seems to take more effort to open and close, like especially if people are not as tall.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it takes some strength to get it up and get it down, whereas the swing doors are very easy for most people, most all people to operate.
I do have another question about like because you have experience in putting these in Mexico as well, right? So
Mhm.
is Mexico very humid? Because like Southeast Asia countries normally is relatively humid, uh, and like rains a lot, floods a
Yeah.
lot. Uh, like would the containers like okay with that? Like survive in the weather?
Yes. Yeah, they will survive in all temperatures. I mean, we have them in the Caribbean, in islands that are very humid. We have them down in Florida in the US. It's also very humid there. But then we also have them up in Canada and just tons of snow and ice up there. No problem at all. Then also have them in Arizona, Nevada, very dry climates. The United States has a lot of different climate zones throughout the country. And so it's nice to see, how many different zones that they have no problem. They don't have any problem in the humid environments, and they don't have any problem in the drier environments. Like I said, I prefer the roll-up doors in more humid environments just because that they breathe more, they have more air circulation in there.
How about the electricity? Does like the portable containers can run like electricity inside, like so have a light inside or that sort of things?
You can, and we don't provide any electrical elements to the units, but you
Mm.
can definitely fabricate them any way you want. We've had people make tiny homes out of them. So, there's ways that you can add electricity in there. A lot of people will just use because they don't want to wire and put wiring throughout the whole units. That they'll use just battery powered, motion sensing puck lighting in there that you can get quite inexpensively. That way, you open the doors, the lights pop on in there, and then they go off when nobody's using them. Um, with the self-storage sites like the image that you saw with the whole site, most sites like that will do something where they either have lights on the exterior, like every few units they may have some solar powered lights on there, or they just use flood lighting outside the units. They don't have any lighting in the inside. It kind of depends on when are you having customers access the units. If there's enough daylight and you have floodlights around, and maybe they're not accessing it at night when it's dark, then you may not need as much light.
I see. All right. Well, thank you very much today, Lisa. Do we have any more questions from our guests? I guess we're good. Lisa, do you want to pop your email into the group chat as well? Let me type it up for everyone.
Yeah, yeah. You want to type that in there? It's lisa@boxwell.co. Don't put an M on the end. There's no M on there.
Okay. So
Dot
that's
.co. And any of you can reach out to me if you want more information, if you want pictures, if you need spec sheets, you want any other examples, I'm happy to share them with you. Just reach out anytime.
all right. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone for joining us today. And well, Lisa, your presentation can be shared with them as well.
Yes, yes, I can absolutely do that.
Okay, I will send a
Yeah.
PDF format to everyone today as
Okay.
well. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Perfect. Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much. Have a great day.